August 4th, 2025. 5:47 a.m. The Ukrainian countryside erupted into a wall of flame that could be seen from space. In 23 minutes, 89 North Korean armored vehicles were reduced to molten slag. Their crews incinerated at temperatures reaching 2,800 degrees Celsius. This wasn't just another battlefield defeat. This was the day Ukraine turned patience into a weapon and silence into the deadliest trap of the entire war. But before we witness this inferno, we need to go back 3 days. 3 days when Ukraine knew exactly what was coming and chose to do absolutely nothing about it. Hit that subscribe button because what you're about to see will change how you think about modern warfare forever. August 1st, 2025. 11:23 p.m. Deep inside a bunker 400 feet beneath Kyiv, Colonel Andriy Petrov stared at satellite imagery that made his blood run cold. Thermal signatures from a captured Russian airbase in Donetsk showed something unprecedented. 120 armored vehicles arranged in perfect formation. But the heat signatures were wrong. These weren't Russian T-90s. The engine cooling patterns, the armor thickness readings, everything pointed to one terrifying conclusion. North Korea had just deployed its most advanced mechanized division onto European soil. Within 6 hours, Ukrainian intelligence intercepted encrypted communications between Pyongyang and Moscow. Kim Jong-un himself had authorized Operation Steel Thunder, a $680 million lightning strike designed to punch through Ukrainian defenses and establish North Korea as a major player in the conflict. The plan was brutally simple. 95 suicide drones would clear the path, followed by 120 main battle tanks and 1,800 elite troops from the Korean People's Army's 42nd Armored Division. But here's where Ukraine made a decision that would shock military analysts worldwide. They chose silence. For 72 hours, Ukrainian forces went completely dark. No troop movements, no defensive preparations, no communication intercepts. To North Korean reconnaissance, it looked like Ukraine was either unaware or too paralyzed to respond. Satellite imagery showed Ukrainian positions looking eerily abandoned. Even NATO commanders began questioning whether Ukraine had simply given up on defending this sector. The truth was far more sinister. While North Korea spent 3 days fine-tuning their assault, Ukraine was preparing something unprecedented. General Syrskyi had authorized the most dangerous defensive operation in military history. Codename Inferno Protocol. Using Soviet-era mining equipment, 400 Ukrainian engineers worked in 12-hour shifts, digging precisely calculated tunnels beneath 4.2 kilometers of farmland. Into these tunnels, they placed 340 thermobaric mines, each containing enough explosive force to melt tank armor at 50 meters. But the mines were just the beginning. Ukrainian drone operators reprogrammed 60 kamikaze drones with reverse psychology protocols. Instead of attacking incoming forces, these drones would target retreating vehicles, ensuring no escape routes remained open. The entire kill zone was mapped down to the centimeter, with overlapping fields of fire from hidden artillery positions and concealed tank destroyers. On August 3rd, intercepted communications revealed Kim Jong-un personally reviewing final battle plans with his generals. The North Korean leader was convinced this operation would demonstrate his military superiority and secure favorable terms in future negotiations. He had no idea he was sending 1-800 men into the most sophisticated death trap ever constructed. At exactly 5:47 a.m. on August 4th, the first wave struck. 95 North Korean suicide drones screamed across the dawn sky, their engines shrieking like banshees. Behind them, the earth trembled as 120 tanks rolled forward in textbook formation. At the command center, Ukrainian operators watched thermal feeds as the massive force approached their carefully prepared killing ground. And then, Ukraine executed the most devastating military deception in modern warfare. They let them pass. The first 15 North Korean vehicles crossed into the kill zone completely unopposed. Radio chatter revealed confusion among North Korean commanders. Where was the resistance? Where were the Ukrainian defenders? Emboldened by the apparent weakness, the entire column accelerated, pushing deeper into what they believed was undefended territory. When exactly 80% of the North Korean force had entered the 4.2-kilometer corridor, Ukraine triggered Inferno Protocol. In a synchronized explosion that registered on seismic sensors across Eastern Europe, 340 thermobaric mines detonated simultaneously. The resulting fireball consumed oxygen for miles around, creating a vacuum that imploded tank crews before the heat could reach them. Temperatures peaked at 2,800 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt titanium armor plating like butter. The North Korean column didn't just stop, it evaporated. Tank turrets were launched 200 feet into the air before crashing back down as molten metal. Armored personnel carriers folded in on themselves like aluminum cans. The lucky crews died instantly from the pressure wave. The unlucky ones had 3.7 seconds to understand what was happening before the flames reached them. But Ukraine wasn't finished. The first light of dawn had barely broken on August 4th, 2025, when the deadly ballet of war unleashed its inferno. At exactly 5:47 a.m., the North Korean attack kicked off with the shrill roar of 95 suicide drones, engineered to be the harbingers of destruction. They streaked low and fast across the Ukrainian skies, each a tiny flying bomb programmed to obliterate everything in their path. Behind them, the ground rumbled with the approach of 120 armored vehicles, sleek, deadly, and confident. The Ukrainian command center was a hive of tense operators monitoring the approaching force through cutting-edge thermal imaging and drone feeds. A chilling calm filled the room. The enemy was about to walk into the carefully crafted heart of a deadly trap. The Ukrainians had made a calculated choice not to resist the initial advance. The first 15 vehicles crossed into an empty-looking corridor without a single shot fired. This deliberate silence sowed confusion among the North Korean commanders, who exchanged anxious radio chatter. "Where is the resistance?" they demanded. Encouraged by the apparent ease, the enemy columns surged forward, unaware that every meter took them closer to annihilation. As 80% of the forces entered the kill zone, a thoroughly mapped 4.2-kilometer stretch of farmland, Ukraine unleashed its pyrotechnic fury. A massive synchronized detonation of 340 thermobaric mines turned the earth into a hellscape. These were no ordinary mines, packed with fuel-air explosives that generate high-temperature blasts beyond conventional explosives. They created a vacuum effect that sucked away oxygen, making survival impossible. 3. Flames erupted, reaching temperatures over 2,800 degrees Celsius, melting steel, burning rubber, and incinerating any living thing trapped in the blast radius. Tank turrets were launched skyward like missiles, armored carriers crumpled under the blast like paper, and the deafening roar left the landscape shrouded in clouds of thick smoke and dust. The thermobaric blast persisted longer than conventional explosions, with materials so toxic they posed dangers similar to chemical weapons. Survivors were few and desperate, yet the carnage was only the beginning. As the initial shockwave faded, Ukrainian kamikaze drones, reprogrammed for this exact purpose, began their haunting dance. Unlike the suicide drones that cleared the way, these UAVs targeted any vehicle attempting to flee the fiery corridor. With precision guided by artificial intelligence and real-time battlefield data, they followed retreating units relentlessly, delivering explosive payloads that ripped through rear armor and shattered escape routes. This aerial assault was supported by concealed artillery, preloaded with GPS-guided shells, accurate within a meter, and mobile anti-aircraft units armed with rapid-fire rotary cannons, waiting patiently to obliterate surviving drones and any reinforcements daring to approach. Gu, the North Korean forces, stunned by the minefield's lethal blossoming, tried to regroup and retreat. Tank turrets turned awkwardly, soldiers scrambled from burning vehicles, and radios crackled with chaos. But the Ukrainian trap was a meticulously coordinated symphony of destruction. No quarter was given. Within minutes, 9 additional tanks were obliterated by pinpoint artillery strikes. One round pierced 2 armored vehicles, igniting fuel lines and turning metal into molten wreckage before the vehicles could even stop. Meanwhile, the skies turned into a raging meat grinder. Out of 53 suicide drones launched during the assault, 47 were shredded mid-air by Shuval-6 rotary cannons mounted on Ukrainian tanks, 6-barreled beasts capable of firing up to 4,000 rounds per minute. Infrared targeting and gyroscopic stabilization ensured deadly accuracy, forcing the remaining drones either off course or into confusion thanks to electronic warfare systems emitting false GPS signals. But the battle on the ground was equally ruthless. From hidden trenches, forest lines, and abandoned village lanes, Ukrainian infantry emerged to finish the devastation. 7 highly trained fire teams equipped with RPG-29 anti-armor rockets, electronic warfare jammers, and drone-guided mortars engaged fleeing North Korean troops. A direct hit on an ammo truck triggered a raging inferno, while sharpshooters picked off squad leaders using thermal scopes that detected infrared helmet signatures, decimating command structures with ruthless efficiency. The kamikaze drones proved devastatingly effective in this chaos. Their ability to loiter undetected and then strike with pinpoint accuracy made them perfect for hunting down retreating vehicles. Unlike traditional missiles, these drones could hover on station until targets were designated, then crash into them with explosive payloads, destroying themselves in the process like modern-day kamikazes. But then, disaster nearly struck Ukraine's own forces. A supply convoy carrying replacement drone batteries had misread GPS coordinates and veered dangerously close to their own minefield perimeter. One wrong turn could have triggered a catastrophic chain reaction, detonating their carefully laid trap prematurely. A Ukrainian drone operator screamed over communications as the convoy driver slammed the brakes just 2 meters from the outer mine layer. Dust settled. Disaster averted. It was a haunting reminder that in modern warfare, even brilliance walks a razor's edge. The North Korean advance, which had begun with such confidence, was now completely shattered. Armored vehicles lay twisted and burning across the 4.2-kilometer corridor. The combination of thermobaric mines and precision kamikaze drones had created a killing field so effective that military analysts would study it for decades. In less than 23 minutes, the carefully orchestrated counterattack had decimated the once confident invasion force, turning a 680 million mechanized strike group into burning wrecks and scattered survivors. The deliberate patience and technological edge of the Ukrainian forces had turned silence into a deadly weapon, rewriting the rules of modern warfare. https://mados. The future of kamikaze drones in military operations. https www.sandbox.us. News, Army and Marines embrace kamikaze drones for ground combat. 3. https n.wikipedia.org. Wiki, thermobaric weapon. 4. https theconversation.com. Ukraine. What is the dangerous vacuum bomb weapon Russia has been accused of using? 178200. https InsideFPV.com, blogs, use cases, kamikaze drones, military defense. 6. https www.sitepress.org, papers, 2023, 222085, 222285. PDF. 7. https Nordic Defence Review.com from Shield to Sword: The Offensive Potential of Modern Mines. 8. HTTPS www.ebocode.com blogs What are FPV kamikaze drones and how do they work in war? 9. HTTPS Eurosd.com 2024 Dojo 6 articles 39038 Thermobaric weapons on the battlefield. 10. HTTPS www.sciencedirect.com Science article ABSPII S0039606025006662X 11. HTTPS International Review ICRC Organizing articles detonating the air, the legality of thermobaric weapons. Under IHL 923. 12. HTTPS www.cdis.gov NIOSH docket archive PDFs NIOSH 125 explosions unrefuge chambers. PDF 13. HTTPS www.mineactionstandards.org standards 09-30 14. HTTPS oe.trade.army mill product Russian minefield tactics pose challenge to mobility. 15. HTTPS JMVH org article munitions thermobaric munitions and their medical effects. HTTPS w.marines.mil portals 1 publications FM % to 2020 32% to 22 28% 201 4 PDF 17 HTTPS w.economist.com The Economist explains 2022 0309 What are thermobaric weapons and does Russia have them in Ukraine? 18 HTTPS timesofindia.indiatimes.com India, what are kamikaze drones, the suicide drones changing modern warfare article show 12-1-05-110. CMS 19, https www.canada.ca N Department, National Defence Programs, Defence, Ideas, Safer Passage during minefield breaching operations in Ukraine. HTML 20 https liba.westpoint.edu Are thermobaric weapons lawful? The battlefield was now a scavenger's nightmare. Twisted metal, burning vehicles, and the acrid smell of smoke and molten steel. By 6:10 a.m., the initial shockwave of destruction had given way to an eerie silence that blanketed the kill zone. Amidst the wreckage, crackling radios sputtered frantic attempts to regroup, but Ukrainian forces tightened their grip, pressing forward with relentless precision. Within this chaos emerged the most critical phase of the Ukrainian assault, the infantry ambush. General Syrsky's strategy now shifted to overwhelming the remnants of the North Korean mechanized forces with the finest infantry units Ukraine had to offer. These were hand-picked elite soldiers, trained extensively in guerrilla tactics, urban warfare, and electronic countermeasures. It was an execution of surgical precision, designed to ensure no survivors could regroup and no secrets escaped capture. Late into the night before the assault, over 850 soldiers had been positioned strategically in concealed bunkers, camouflaged with nets and natural foliage. Their presence was invisible not only to the human eye, but to thermal imaging drones, thanks to advanced biometric heat management systems embedded in their gear, designed to confuse enemy sensors. By 6:15 a.m., from trenches hidden beneath leafless birch trees and across abandoned village lanes, the Ukrainian infantry rose like shadows. Armed with RPG-29 rocket launchers, electronic warfare jammers, and mortar units guided by real-time drone reconnaissance, these 7 elite fire teams awaited the signal. As retreating North Korean soldiers scrambled from their burning vehicles, desperate to find shelter or regroup, they walked unknowingly into a killing field designed to consume them. RPG rounds screamed through the air, striking armored targets with tandem warheads designed to penetrate reinforced armor. Each hit set off secondary blasts, igniting fuel and ammunition caches, sending fireballs licking high into the sky. Snipers equipped with thermal 12 AVX scopes picked off squad leaders with ruthless efficiency. These scopes could discriminate between ordinary helmets and command units based on infrared signature differences, decapitating enemy leadership one by one. The chaos was palpable. Confusion spread like wildfire among retreating troops. Adding to the devastation were electronic warfare squads that deployed sophisticated jamming devices, scrambling North Korean communications and redirecting enemy drones off course. Ukrainian drone operators used this window to launch lethal counter-drone attacks with swarm tactics, overwhelming the remaining air assets of the enemy. One particularly brutal moment came when a North Korean ammo truck exploded 3 stories high, sending shockwaves that shattered windows half a mile away. Soldiers within a 200-meter radius were instantly incapacitated or killed by flying shrapnel. But the most shocking turn of events came in the heart of the battlefield. Inside a collapsed, burning North Korean command vehicle, Ukrainian medics pulled a wounded officer out from beneath debris. Bloodied and bruised, his identity was quickly verified: a high-ranking general, Park Hyun-woo, commander of the 42nd Armored Regiment. Despite attempts to disguise himself as a private, the careful eye of a Ukrainian sergeant noticed his officer's field cap beneath his jacket. Within minutes, the general was restrained and evacuated via helicopter to a secure location. Crucially, he was carrying encrypted tablets containing battle plans for 6 other regions, intelligence potentially capable of shifting the war's balance. Satellite imagery later confirmed the scale of the disaster. Smoldering wreckage stretched over 3 kilometers. The black scars across the farmland were visible even from orbit. Supply trucks burned for hours after combat ceased, a testament to the inferno created by Ukraine's layered defenses. For North Korea, the aftermath was silence. State-controlled media went dark for a staggering 96 hours as officials regrouped and tried to understand the unprecedented defeat. Western intelligence sources reported multiple high-ranking generals placed under investigation, and rumors circulated that one had attempted to flee Pyongyang only to be detained. Back in Ukraine, the human toll was starker, but defined by a sense of grim resolve. In hospitals near the front, Ukrainian doctors treated both their wounded and captured North Korean soldiers. One photograph, quickly going viral, showed a Ukrainian corporal offering a glass of water to a burned and trembling 18-year-old North Korean conscript. This image captured the paradox of war, destruction and human empathy intertwined. It was a silent message to the world. This was not just a battle of machines and firepower. It was a battle fought by people, with human lives hanging in balance. In the wake of this crushing defeat, the global military community reeled. Analysts called it one of the most sophisticated battlefield ambushes in recent history. Lessons learned from the infantry ambush and Inferno protocol would be studied in war colleges worldwide. Yet beneath the tactical brilliance and strategic patience lies a deeper truth. War is never just about victory or defeat. It's about the choices made under pressure, the value of patience over impulse, and ultimately the humanity retained in the midst of chaos. As the sun set over the scarred Ukrainian countryside, one thing was clear. Ukraine had not just survived. They had rewritten the rules of engagement. They had created a fiery hell from silence, turning the might of a $680 million mechanized invasion into ashes, with the courage and precision of their finest soldiers. What will the world learn from this inferno? What will come next? Only time will tell. Please like, subscribe, and join us as we continue to uncover the stories that define modern warfare. This battle, this inferno of fire and strategy, stands as a testament to human resilience and the relentless pursuit of survival in a world shadowed by conflict. Ukraine's silence was their weapon, and their patience forged an unbreakable shield. The echoes of this fiery hell will resonate far beyond the battlefield, forever altering the course of modern warfare.